Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I have a fun episode. I'm going to share a success story in fitting a sway back that required a significant amount of vertical ease needed to be removed from the back of a t-shirt. This pattern does not have a center back seam, and initially this sewer tried to use my adjustment for creating a shorter or removing length in a sway back without adding a center back seam. I'm going to link that video in the description below so you can review that if you'd like to. Sometimes what happens is if you have a lot of vertical length to remove, so in this case it was 3 inches, removing it from just the top like I showed in the video doesn't really take care of the whole job. So what I want to do is share with you this sewer's journey in creating the perfectly fitted back of a t-shirt that had a lot of extra ease. And before we get going, I just want to tell you that last week I shared a new notion, Sewtites, the magnetic sewing pins, and you know, a lot of times I get these new notions and I love them and I review them and then I put them aside and then I'll take them out when I need them later. You know, it's maybe a specialty notion, something I might not be using every day. But I'll tell you what, I have used Sewtites every day since I've gotten them for one thing or another. And in prepping for this video, I wanted to cut out multiples of the same pattern piece so I could show you how the adjusted pattern piece looks compared to the original. Plus I needed the original to put back the adjusted edges, and I used the Sewtite dots to weigh down the multiple layers, and you can see here I cut out perfectly 3 layers using 2 of these Sewtite dots. Absolutely love them. So if you missed it last week, I do have an affiliate link. You can click it and get 15% off your purchase of Sewtites, but I'm telling you right now, this has got to be one of my top 10 notions. I absolutely love them. And the reason why I'm used the dots to do the, to hold the layers of paper is because the magnet is flush with the top, so it just lays nice and flat, and it just did a really nice job of holding all these layers together. So that's my little Sewtite thing for today. I'm sure you're going to be hearing a lot more about these little beauties. I absolutely love them. And for now, I'm going to create a storage thing for them. But for now, what I'm doing is I'm using pages of the brochure they sent me to store my Sewtites. So see, I've got some on the front page, and I can put, you know, I can put them right there, and that way I'm not losing them. Now the thing is, you can't put them too close together because they tend to be attracted to each other. So I've got some on the first page, then I've got some in here. So I've got them spread out in this really cool brochure they sent me. So for now, that's my Sewtite storage because I don't want to lose them. Okay, so getting back to our fun success story in fitting, I want to show you here. Here is the original tee, and look how much extra vertical length she has there. That's a lot. So if you're in the camp where you have a lot of vertical ease to remove from the back of your shirt, you're going to love this tutorial. It's perfect for you. So having seen all of that extra vertical length, take a look at this. This is the back of the pattern, and what she did there was she slashed the pattern and overlapped it, picking up from the bottom the entire 3 inches, and you can see how much that distorts or whacks out the center back seam. So then she decided to push half of the 3 inches, you know, pull out half from the bottom of the pattern and half from the top of the pattern. So even with one slash, you can split up the total amount of length you're removing by where you pivot the pattern. And I want to just take a minute and show you that so you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm going to use one of my copies of this pattern to show you what I mean here. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to just draw myself a guideline down across the back. And I'm going to slash it and create a pivot at the side. Now, I could, and I'm just going to make a mark here. So let's make a mark. For this small scale, I'm going to make it an inch. Okay, so I'm just going to make a 1 inch mark there. So what I'm talking about here is you can remove the ease by pivoting the bottom of the pattern up. So you're literally pushing the bottom of the pattern up like this. Okay, so what you can see happens is you've got this curve on your center back seam now. The hem is going to be pretty distorted. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my Sewtites because I don't want to tape it into position. I just want to show you if I take this disc and just slide it under here, and then if I pick it up and put it on the original pattern, you can see what it's doing is it's just shifting the bottom of the shirt out like that. It is possible to push the pattern in 2 directions on the same slash, and even though it will look the same along the edge, it distorts the pattern differently. So let me show you that. So instead of having the whole inch here, I'm actually going to measure a 1/2 inch here, and I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch here. And to illustrate it, I'm going to put the original pattern underneath here. So we're going to line them up like this. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push the bottom up a half inch this time, so half the amount. Okay, and then to get the rest, I'm going to push the top down. And we end up in the same place, meaning we're taking out the same amount, but in this case, let me just use my little clip here to hold it so I can move my hand. Oops. So I can literally slide my little disc under there. Oops, and clamp it shut. You can see now this needs to be, you can see now it's involving this and it's involving this. So she tried that, pushing half of the 3 inches down and half of the 3 inches up into that one slash, and this is the result she got. You can see it looks pretty good. You know, it's not perfect, but it's a huge improvement. And you know, she looked at the back of her t-shirt here and she decided that she really wanted to try to remove more of the excess vertical length. So I had suggested to her to use 3 slashes. And in doing that, I thought, wow, if we separate the amount that we're going to take out across 3 slashes, that will work better and we can pick it all up from the bottom. So here is her pattern with the 3 slash guidelines marked on it, and she tried that and it really didn't work. She got a similar result to the red t-shirt. So she decided to try removing half of the 1.5 inches from the top and the other half from the bottom across those 3 slashes. She decided to distribute the 3 inches across the 3 slash marks unevenly. So the top 2 slash lines she overlapped 3/4 of an inch, and then she overlapped the bottom slash 1.5 inches. And the result of that was so much better. So here's what the pattern looks like after she closed or overlapped those 3 slash lines. And you can see that the pattern tips at the top and it tips at the bottom. And just to illustrate it a little bit farther, here's what the adjusted pattern looks like on top of the original pattern. So you can see the black line is the original pattern. So that's where you need to trace that back onto the adjusted pattern piece to put it back. And if you want step-by-step instructions for that, click the video below and I show you how to do it step by step. But you can see that in addition to having to put back the shoulder, armhole, and upper side seam to straighten that back out, you also have to straighten the hip out on the side seam. And then notice how the center back hem is also picked up from where she removed 1.5 inches on that third lowest slash line. So you can put that back by just straightening out the hem. So here is a picture of her cutting out her test tee after making that adjustment. And you can see she just cut straight across to the center back to put back that fabric that was missing at the hem. And I can't even begin to tell you how excited she was. Look at how beautiful her tee looks now. So fabulous. So I thought this was a fun thing to share with you guys because, you know, I always share fit adjustments that I've tried. So I know they work, but because everybody is different and sometimes the amount that you may need to remove is too much for just doing it either with one slash or moving the pattern in one direction. This is so exciting to have this great example of how you can use the technique of slashing and overlapping the center back seam to remove a significant amount of excess vertical length because of the sway back. So I'm so excited for her. Her t-shirt looks amazing. She didn't need to add a center back seam, and I'm just completely thrilled for her. So to finish this up, I just want to show you here. Here is all her versions of her back patterns. You can kind of see them side by side. The original pattern, just taking it by picking it up from the bottom, and then the third option, picking it up from the bottom and also pushing it down from the top to get rid of the entire 3-inch amount she needed. I think it's fun to look at those pattern pieces because you can really see, the difference in shapes. So I hope if you have a sway back or know somebody who does, that this helps you adjust your pattern, especially if you're looking for an option without adding a center back seam. This worked out so wonderful, and I'm so grateful that she allowed me to share all her photos and, so I could share her story with you. So thank you so much for watching. And, this is a good time to remind you, if you have a fitting success story you'd like to share with me, email them at jsterndesigns37@gmail, and you may see your success story on an upcoming episode of Fit Tip Tuesday. Also, if you have a fitting challenge that you need help with, either post your questions or email me, because I do love doing subscriber Q&A. That's my favorite thing because I know at least one person in the universe needs the answer to what I'm sharing if I'm answering somebody's question. So sometimes I just do things that are, go along with what I'm working on, but I do like to share answers for people if they need them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Join me Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for part 2 of the Sorcha Classic Slim Trouser Sew Along. Last Friday I had the first part. It was a little bit of a hot mess because I really wasn't feeling well. I got my shingles vaccine and I had a very strong reaction to it, and I thought I was feeling better than I was. Because after I watched the replay of myself, I was like, oh my God, I was all over the map. But I did share some information about sizing and how to prepare your pattern. If you have any questions about any of those things with your Sorcha Classic Slim Trousers, please let me know. This Friday we will be working on the cut-on fly and probably putting the legs together, because the cut-on fly technique is really fast and easy. And I want to even say it's fun. So join me for part 2 of the Sorcha Classic Slim Trouser Sew Along Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day.